Welcome everyone to the Wellness Gala Plus series. My name is Lee of soulfulmandalas.com. And I know that during these times things can be very tense, and the topic tonight is connecting to the stillness within. And one of the things that I know just from my own experience and just in basically very common sense is that when I'm in a hurried position, when I'm rushed, when I am overwhelmed, when I am in a state of confusion, making decisions and kind of navigating through life can be very challenging. And one of the ways in which then I'm able to, with clarity, achieve that is by taking a moment, looking within and relaxing. This could be from taking a breath, taking a moment, choosing my battles, making sure that I'm not getting into something that I can't handle it. So for example, let's say that something is coming up that's very, very challenging, but I have an opportunity to postpone it. I can say, I'll get to that, I'll get back to that. I'm not up to this right now. I'll come back to this when I'm ready. And then taking a breath and thinking about it. When I'm in a hurry and people are really pressing upon it, say, give me a moment. I need to think about this. And when we negotiate for these kinds of opportunities in which we can actually gather our resources, we're much more effective. Stillness is that place of consciousness that carries within it greater clarity, a more far-reaching point of view. When I'm in the storm of some kind of challenge, it could almost be seen as being in the ground level. So if I'm in the ground level of some kind of major metropolis, and all of the stuff is whizzing about me, and everybody's crazy with all of their activities, and there's having a hard time of figuring out, like how to cross the street, what's going on. But if I were to say to you, over there, on the other side is a river, and over there is opportunity. Over there is something that you can get. You would say from the ground level, I can't see it, I don't know what you're talking about. This is very much an idea that Carolyn Myss promotes. And when we're in this traffic on the street, in the throes of all of the craziness going on in the day, and we're so caught up in it, it's very difficult to see what's within. What is it that's going on? I mean, in a broader sense. But if I were to go into that building, and I were to climb those floors, I would see further than I could when I was at ground level. And because of that, I can see the more farther ramifications of what it is that I am deciding on. And so looking within comes from and is connected to this momentary pause of not so much being trapped by the external forces, but by giving myself the opportunity to really connect with it, with that being the reward. And these kinds of strategies, I know, can be challenging in the face of maybe some habitual behavior, where I'm just used to flailing about, or not feeling like I can do it, or being overwhelmed, or whatever. But every single thing that I have, no matter what happens, give myself that opportunity to say, you know what? I need a moment. And to do that allows me that greater perspective. So then I can be at the 20th floor. And when I do this is a lifelong habit. I am learning how to connect to these things in such a way that allows me an easier way of doing it next time. My automatic responses to things in some cases just perpetuates whatever it is that I have. So putting a gap, putting a time out, putting some kind of space between having to just react, instead of just reacting to it, thinking about it and saying, okay, I'm going to take a moment and look about this a different way so that I can consider another option. And by doing so, achieve another better outcome. In a state of stillness, the power of it. Let's give another kind of example. In martial arts, in Buddhism, when a person is ascending into being a Buddhist monk, they're given basically two tests. One of those tests is the reciting of the scriptures of Buddha, his writings. But the other is in the act of the martial art. And the martial art was created by Buddhists to give them a sense of exercise so that they could physically be fit so that they could continue to meditate. Just the way that yoga was created to enhance the meditative experience by having the body be in a state that it could maintain itself for long periods of time in meditation. But when they're in martial arts and they're moving around and they're doing all of these incredible acrobatic and very, very appearingly maybe even aggressive acts, part of the judgment isn't so much on the accuracy of the movements and how well that they do it. No, it's the stillness within. When the person is moving, they're doing so in a way that they can continue to catch themselves because they're conscious of what's going on in such a way, then they're mindful of it that they can stop at any moment. They are not hurled through their own kind of forward movement in such a way that overwhelms their individual choices. The stillness that comes from within allows us to turn on a dime in that way so that we can continue to be conscientious, to be fully conscious in what it is that we are choosing to do. And that kind of stillness comes from that constant interruption of the normal noise that goes within consciousness. It is very hard for some people, and it's certainly something that I went through and have been for a while, to just be quiet. It takes practice. Meditation is just very, very important. In meditation and in the quiet stillness that comes from that, all of the noise, all of the chaos that has existed within consciousness is now given the stillness, right? Like the water is still water. You can see deeper within it. So now I can see it and I can experience it. So I start experiencing the undealt with, unexpressed emotional states that have been lying in wait, that have been kind of repressed in a way. But when I'm still, and I give myself the stillness, it gives me an opportunity to look at those kinds of behaviors and or those kinds of feelings, really, or attachments, conflicts, trauma. And then by doing that and giving it some sort of breath, giving it some kind of expression in the quiet, I can then ventilate out some of those feeling states so that when I'm in the storm of life, I don't have to carry that with me. All unaddressed emotional states can be seen as the burden. And they're very dense. Lower vibrational, states of consciousness are very dense. They're very heavy. It's like carrying around a weight. It's a good way to get your lower back hurt. It's that sense of being burdened. And the burden isn't because of just life throwing things. It's because of the fact that I have continued to take on certain things that I haven't been given an opportunity to ventilate. And by ventilating them, they then lessen and I become lighter. And as I become lighter, I'm not moving 500 pounds around when I'm going ahead and doing something. I'm moving 150 pounds around. And it gives me the agility, the mental state, the physical state even, to be able to handle more things. But being in a state of quiet means that I will be looking at my life in an undisturbed way. And that is a discipline. And by doing that, though, and by connecting to it in that way, that is, over time, enhancing that skill. So when I'm going ahead and I'm moving up through consciousness, through these lighter states of consciousness, right, from the lower chakras into the heart chakra, when I'm doing that, and as I continue to move up that way, I'm going to kind of feel a sense of lightness, but it's going to take some work. It's very easy to live in the visceral, aggressive condemnation, anger, rage. They're very, very attractive in some ways because they have a volatility and a power to them that is very, very addictive. It causes all sorts of hormonal action, epinephrine, norepinephrine, adrenaline. It causes this sense of a rush of energy that too can be very, very addictive. But it doesn't allow the clarity and the kind of mindfulness that I say, as a person who values this, but for anybody who may, feel that there's value in this, then if they're not doing that, then they're at odds with themselves. So when we're going to these kinds of states where we just give ourselves a moment to pause, just a moment, maybe it's just 3 minutes, come back to the breath. One of the best ways to kind of get into stillness is the breath. 5 breaths a minute. 5 seconds in, or 6 breaths a minute. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. No matter how bad or how horrible it is, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. The body knows what to do when we let it do what it can to help us. But it has to be able to reset itself, and we need to give it the opportunity to do that. So there's such wisdom in things like taking that breath, having that 6 breaths a minute, being able to say, I'm not up for this conversation today. Let's do it at another time. Or being in a state of stillness and being in a state of quiet, maybe in nature, maybe next to something that instills a sense of serenity. Rhythm, too, has a way. Maybe it's the rhythm of a wave, like being at the ocean. Or maybe it's just by being by some kind of brook, like a river. And the sounds and the rhythms of those are very, very relaxing. They continue to go through the noise and the crazy of all of the emotional states that may be plaguing us. And in their rhythmic nature, relax us, calm us. And in doing so, we discover our own stillness. And we discover that we, too, are as natural as that tree, as that brook, as that bird, as that flower. And that when we're in those states and when we're in that process, we can then realign ourselves back to our true nature, which is free of all of the chaos that comes from conflict and attachment. So, thank you for watching. For more information, please contact wellnessgala.com. And until we meet again, have a great day.